As we mature, I like to think of how a young kid, just say young boy, knows that someday he's going to drive a car, and but yet, even though he's got the concept, he doesn't have the capacity nor the wisdom. He can't even reach the pedals, but he could sit on Daddy's lap and steer around the parking lot or out on a country road or something like that, and kind of get the feel for it. You better be sure that Daddy's there, because he could not handle that car if Daddy was not there. And someday, as he grows, of course, he learns his tricycle, and then his bicycle, and then maybe a mini bike, and eventually then he's got a license to drive a car. And that's around 16 or something like that, 16 years old, and he still doesn't have full permission because he's not independent yet. So Dad says, you could go out, but be in by 10 or whatever. You got still some limitations to it. And somewhere along the line, like Jesus at the River Jordan, he gets baptized into independence, into full-fledged endorsement. And God says, wow, I can endorse you because not only do you have the capacity, but you own or possess the wisdom that I've been training you with. And now I can set you loose, set you free. But interestingly, if Jesus is our pattern, which he is, he's the pattern son. Jesus said, I don't do anything but what I see the Father do at first. I don't say anything but what I hear the Father say. And so even though we've come to full independence, full endorsement, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased, hear ye him. Even though we've come to that level, Jesus, who would have probably, I think in all of our minds, been the supreme example of independence, the capacity, the model. How do you do independence? He says, yep, I got endorsed by my Father. He told everybody to listen to me, but I still don't do anything unless I hear him say it first. So that dynamic to me is a huge, I think that's another part, at least in my perspective of the fear of the Lord, that's another part of the fear of the Lord for me, is I don't want to shrink back from any potential, any any frontiers that he may ever open up to me, but neither do I want to run there presumptuously or headstrong or without him. So I think that, there are ditches on either side of the road on this thing that we could say, oh no, that's too grandiose for me. That's God, you're giving me way too much liberty, way too much permission. You've endorsed me way too much beyond my maturity. And God says, no, really, in my heart, my mind, my dreams for you are beyond your most wild imagination. And they'll come to you, and they'll be yours to walk in, as long as you still walk with that, if we could say it, our rope, our leash, of only doing what we see our Father do. That's pretty tender for me, because obviously in the realms that we're moving into, there are a lot of casualties in the past. I think we're of a maturity level that will help safeguard us. We're also at an epoch, a time in history where God's provision and his grace is more available for this journey, this frontier, more available in our time maybe than any time in history. So not only are our hearts more steeped and anchored in sonship, maybe hopefully we're a little more seasoned than maybe some of the newbies that wanted to walk into it in decades or centuries past. But in addition to that, we're coming into, I think, a general grace, a wholesale grace, that God's going to sustain us and escort us into this.